So now we can actually get onto the race. We'll get onto the thing we mentioned earlier. So race starts. Lewis and Bottas actually managed to organise it properly this time, so they get through first and second.
Max, it's an easy one because the track is so tight.
It was a lot easier this time, yeah. The run down to turn one was a lot shorter, so Bottas didn't have enough time to mess it up. But so we get through there.
You say that, but Lewis messed it up on the second start. Okay?
Listen, we won't talk too much about this. We'll get onto it in a bit. But so they're going through. Max is actually surprisingly keeping up quite well with them. I think the gap between Lewis and Bottas was just over 2 seconds. Gap between Bottas and Max was only like a second and a half. And, well, 10 laps in, we're thinking this is going to be, usual stuff. We're gonna get a decent amount.
I thought Lewis would like a 10 laps gap on them by a bit. Like, I think he was slowing down to keep Bottas quite close so he can use DRS.
Maybe, but then Bottas asked for a bit of an extra gap, so for the dirty air and stuff. But I think he was definitely doing a lot of tyre saving. I'm not sure why, but we didn't really.
I thought he gapped them by like 10 seconds.
I thought he would have. Yeah, I thought he would have tried to blitz off. It was definitely a Sebastian thing to pull out like a 20-second gap in 10 laps, so you can have a spare pit stop for no reason because there wasn't even a fastest lap back then. So 10 laps in. Mick crashes at turn 22.
See that desire of this, like, to be like so far ahead. Like they tell him slow down, save tires, and you just go around switching fastest lap by fastest lap.
That's the one. While we're on the topic, yeah, another thing. This is the YouTube link I'll leave in the description this time, in the YouTube video. Is I'll try find a particular incident where it's like 2 laps from the end, and for no particular reason other than stat padding, Vettel decides on his worn tyres he's going to go for the fastest lap of the race and ruin his car for absolutely no reason, risk everything, risk the win, purely because he wants fastest lap. And his race engineer's like, Lewis, Vettel, don't do it. Sebastian, don't do it. You don't need to. You have no reason to do this. Just save your tyres. And then he goes off and does like 3 fastest laps. Like, no reason at all. No point. There's no point.
But that's the thing, watching that and listening to the radio, just be insane. Like, you'd actually enjoy that so much.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll leave a link. I'll try to find a particular example, but he did it for like 2 years.
Max actually reminds me a bit of Sebastian in terms of like he was hated so much by the fans, and Maxim is hated by not all the fans. Not like Sebastian, I guess. He's not that bad, but he gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But he gets a lot of hate because he's really good.
Yeah, you've got to respect him realistically, and there'll be another one where after he retires, everyone.
But I don't see anyone in this generation having that same kind of. Getting that same hate like Max is getting.
Part of his generation, no, because Leclerc's loved, George is loved, Lando's loved so much, and all the rest of them.
It'd be interesting next season when they're all fighting for podiums.
So, Mick crashes. We're on like lap 10 at this point. Mick's crashed, brings out the safety car initially. Then
why is there a safety car for 4 laps?
Where do you know? Mercedes both pit. Then after Mercedes pit, they're behind Max, and then the red flag comes out, so Max is now able to switch on his tyres, or change his tyres. Why? Is that... So Lando complains about this rule afterwards, because a lot of the midfield drivers lost out due to this.
Yeah, this is what I was
What do you think of the rule?
First of all, why is there the reason people pitted is there was a safety car for like 4 laps.
Yeah.
Why is there, if you're going to red flag straight away, or keep a safety car until they fix stuff, and you stay out on circuit. Like, that's the way I look at it. In terms of Lewis complaining on the radio, he's like, oh, is Max going to get a free pit stop? He's ahead of us. Boy, you would have been out at Imola if you didn't get a free pit stop.
Very true.
So Lewis, I don't see Lewis ever complaining about this, because he benefited from it, like, a lot of times. Not a lot of times, but he benefited, like, he saved his season this year, to be
honest. I mean, so I think he's not, even with the luck,
but
I heard someone, like, they got it confused. Lando complained about the rule itself.
Yes.
Lewis complained about the fact it was a red flag.
Exactly.
It's different, but either way, Lewis shouldn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have.
I get why he's complaining
he's
about
frustrated
it after 4
and
laps. Why is it? Why are you giving a red flag after 4 laps? That's why I don't get.
Yeah.
In terms of the rule, I'm not like that's the thing. I'm like it ruins like. I guess it introduces a bit more kind of interesting kind of stuff happening at the front, but then it screws with everyone in the midfield really.
It does. The thing is,
but then Ocon was leading the race, so you can't say like anything about that.
It screws with people in a sense that I was going to mention this later. Like, it's like an FIA decision almost, where if the FIA make a decision like that, just purely to bring out the red flag, it's going to benefit some people, and it's going to not benefit other people.
So it's going to be good this time, bad this time.
Yeah, which, as much as you want to complain about it when it's bad for you, next time it will be good for you. Like, it doesn't affect anyone, it doesn't really
Lando's the
matter,
only person where it's always bad for him.
Well, it's unfortunate for him, but, like, realistically, it's just one of them things. It's the same with, you know, like, as much as I'm a Lewis fan and I'd love to complain that they brought it out and after the safety car and all of this, I understand it. Turn 22, that's where Leclerc crashed in, I think it was practice.
When Leclerc crashed in, they gave us like a red flag straight away.
That's true, and it is inconsistent, so I would say this is the first of the minor inconsistencies with the stewards this weekend. But in general also, F2, there was a crash there at that corner.
Red flag straight away.
Even before the track was shown, everyone saw turn 22 as one of the danger points. So if you want to fix the barriers there, cool. You can argue it was a bit weird that they didn't set the red flag out instantly. But in general, the rule, like, I don't mind it. Like, it's just there. Like, it's never been a problem otherwise. So I don't have to complain.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They have to, like, if you're gonna red flag straight away.
For safety, in a safety point of view, yeah, they probably should have just red flagged.
I don't see why give 4 laps and then be like, oh yeah, you were gonna red flag. What are you talking about?
Right, well, speaking of the complaints people had for the what's it called, for the FIA and Massey and all of this red flag now, before the restart, so we're not even at this point yet. I just wanted to ask you, are the FIA making it hard to trust them? So with all the stuff we've said about so with all the stuff we've said about the decisions, how it helps some people, doesn't help other people, with the track and how it was green lit on Thursday, you know, that's dangerous, clearly to do with politics and all of this.
It's also to do with, like, the championship. They wanted to go down to the wire. You know, like, if you look at races, it does look like they are favouring some people over some people.
True,
are they doing that for the show?
See, that's the thing.
It sounds
like a conspiracy theorist kind of thing, but when you see the kind of stuff, when you look at the facts that they're getting weird, like, we'll talk about the comparison to the Baku incident and all of this later, but when you see that kind of stuff, it doesn't become that much of a reach to say they're doing it for the sake of the show.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at, like, Lewis got some things here, Max got some things in this race. But when you go back and look, there are some things where, like say for instance, Max got the benefit, like, where he pushed Lewis out, didn't get a penalty because they don't want it to end on a penalty. They want Lewis to overtake him. Same things where Lewis kind of was let off, just, you know, like, stuff like that, where, you know, like, where Lewis, you know, hit the barrier in Imola. I still don't remember why there was a red flag to it there, to be honest.
Oh, right, when he hit the... I think there was a reason. I can't remember why, but
I remember being, like, confused at the time, because they could just do a safety car.
I can't lie, I was just screaming because he tried to overtake a back marker and then ended up in the grab.
Yeah, but, like, so you see these things across the year where you're like, is it, it's not consistent, is it? Are they just doing this because they want to, like, favour this guy this time, favour this time, balance it out? I think it balances out over the course of the season, but that doesn't mean what you're doing is right.
Yeah, definitely. Like, they definitely punish the consequences.
Exactly. You either did something right or you did something wrong. Like, to be honest, with the one in, like, Silverstone, you can argue Lewis deserved a harsher penalty. Like, the fact that he got only 10 seconds, not 20 seconds, not, like, say... I don't think he should have gotten a stop-go penalty, but I think, like, 20 seconds could have been, like, for the crash and everything that happened, 20 seconds. There's an argument of, like, they're not supposed to take into account the actual crash, just the incident. But then, like, Lando, when he pushed Perez off in Austria.
Austria, yeah.
But that's the thing. It was his corner, it was everything, and Perez came out of nowhere. He got points on his license, got 5-second penalty, and then Max pushed Lewis out, got nothing.
Yeah, they are really.
Like, it's the same thing. It's because he pushed him into the gravel. Yeah. But then you're not supposed to take that into account. You're not supposed to take the consequences into account. I think they apply the rules more consistently after Max and Lewis. In terms of, a few people pushed people off there and they got 5-second penalties, everyone. I remember that race. Like, Perez got like 10, I think, because he pushed like 2 people off. So they were consistent with you. But when it comes to Lewis and Max, I think that's where you actually look and you're like, it's inconsistent. Like
yeah, it's almost
we're talking while we're talking about it about the FIA. Lewis's end plate was like knocked off, and this happened to Leclerc a few years back. I don't remember when. Like he was a Ferrari. His end plate basically got hit off, and he was given. They didn't stop, so they let him continue. Like they let Lewis continue,
yeah.
and then he got a stop-go penalty.
For his front wing end plate.
Yeah, so it was off. It was off. You can search it up. Someone showed it to me. It was a few years back. I don't remember where it was.
At Ferrari, you said.
It was at Ferrari. Yeah, I can send you the video. But he ends up like imagine like that. That's how inconsistent it is, though.
Right. Well, we've come back. We've reviewed the footage. We got given the onboards. We looked at the telemetry, and we've come to the decision. Well, I mean, we didn't really come to a
The stories are
decision.
incredibly inconsistent.
I mean, to be fair, when you look at the incident we're talking about, Japan 2019. I'll try to get a video up. He got 10 seconds. I don't know how you remember this, but he got 10 seconds.
Someone sent me it.
Oh right, okay, yeah. I thought this just came from your memory.
Oh
Like,
no,
yeah.
no, 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 I don't remember.
The end plate comes off Leclerc's Ferrari. It goes flying actually into Lewis's face. Was one of the clips we saw, and he got a penalty for that.
10 seconds stop go.
I'd say it was just lucky. Lewis
didn't get anything. That's why I'm just
because
sitting
like
there.
I'm saying Lewis is lucky. Not as much came off his wing because only a little bit like fell off and that was it.
It's the end plate. And I find it to be. See, this is the annoying part. It's like, if you're not Max or Lewis, I think they get preferential treatment over everyone else. Like I'm not gonna talk about like who gets preferential treatment between both of them. I think both of them get preferential treatment at some point, but between them and everyone else, they get definitely preferential treatment over everyone else.
And that's what. So the point
No
initially
question
we
about
started with this is are the FIA hard to trust? Because any decision will benefit Max and then not help Lewis, and then another decision will help Lewis and then not help Max. But if the FIA are being weird with the rules and stuff and we're finding it hard to trust them, then it's very easy to say, oh, they did this to help Max, or they did this to help Lewis. When in reality, some decisions will just help them anyway. So
yeah, I think they
tough.
do some things to help like drivers. I think it's not like a conspiracy theory. I think it's like it actually happens.
Yeah, I do.
Maybe not before because it wasn't as much about like the show as now. It's about the show.
Well, money talks.
Netflix is gonna have like, you may have to say for the season they're gonna have a lot of like 10 episodes. It's gonna be so hard to
tell me. Listen, watch them make 4 episodes about Giovinazzi and his incredible driving this year.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, they're gonna miss the point completely.
That's the thing. Like, if they like there've been so many incidents. If they miss all of this out and like, or they ignore Silverstone or like Monza or something like this, I'm just gonna freak out because they will,
bro. They will.
Monza they'll be like covering Ferrari, like I remember last year, they covered like Sergio Perez and his win, which was great.
Yeah.
And they not mention George Russell at like.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Yeah, we're
Bro,
watching the story of George Russell.
The guy jumped into a Mercedes from Williams, drove, and basically he deserved.
He wiped the floor with Bottas.
Bro, he destroyed him, bro. And like he destroyed. No one was even close to him. Like to be fair, Bottas was the only person who could be close to him.
Yeah.
And then he smoked it. Like he overtook him in that quick part of the section. Beautiful overtake. They don't even mention it.
Yeah, there's the jeopardy of the what was it? The incidents, the puncture, all the rest of it, and then nothing. Yeah, I'm not looking. Well, I am sort of looking forward to Drive Test 5, but I don't have my hopes up. But we'll go into that. We'll actually, you know what I'm thinking of doing? We'll do as the winter break series that we're gonna have coming up. We do a review episode on that because it should come out like maybe the week before F1 starts. We're gonna watch it and then do a review episode on it, which will be
roast them about everything they've missed, basically.